Hi everybody, welcome back to Remote Learning with Miss Corwin. Today I'm going to kind of be reviewing a little bit of dividing fractions. We didn't really get to touch on it, and I know that Zern teaches you how to divide fractions, but I also would like you to see this way to divide fractions, because honestly in the long run, this is going to be way more helpful for you. Rather than drawing tape diagrams and doing all those other things that Zern often wants you to do, this is probably going to be a little bit simpler for you. So here we are, dividing fractions. So how can we divide fractions? Well, we're going to remember this. We are going to remember KFC MMS. Now you might be wondering, Ms. Corwin, what do you mean KFC MMS? Well, yeah, it's KFC MMS, just like the fast food restaurant. So what does that mean? Well, let's look at this problem right here. We have 1/2 divided by 1/6. So KFC MMS. The K stands for keep. We are going to keep the first fraction the same. So we are going to leave this 1/2 as a 1/2. We are not going to do anything to change that. Keep that as 1/2. So that's K, keep the first fraction the same. Then we have F, flip. So we are going to flip the second fraction around. So here we had 1/2 divided by 1/6. So instead of 1/6, 1/6 is going to become 6/1. This is called the reciprocal. This is really important when dividing fractions. You cannot forget to flip the second fraction. So K is keep the first fraction the same. F is flip the second fraction around. So instead of 1/6, we'll have 6/1. C, change the division sign to a multiplication sign. So we have 1/2 because we keep the first fraction the same. 6/1 because we flip the second fraction. And for C, change, we changed our division symbol to a multiplication symbol. So we have K, keep, F, flip, C, change, KFC. That's going to be helpful for us to remember. So then we have that MMS part. Well, when we get to the MMS, that means we can start to actually do it. So first M stands for multiply across the top. So 1 times 6, they also rewrite it here, is equal to 6. Then multiply across the bottom. 2 times 1, they have the same thing here, is 2. And then simplify. So here we had 6 because 1 times 6 equals 6/2 because 2 times 1 equals 2. Then when we simplify that, when we turn this into a proper fraction, we have 6/2 equals 3. So we have KFC. Keep the first fraction the same. Flip your second fraction. Change the division to multiplication. And then multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom, simplify. Let's look at another one. This one I didn't space out quite as much. So we have 1/8 divided by 1/4. So with 1/8 divided by 1/4, we're going to keep the first fraction the same. So we have 1/8, that stays the same. Flip the second fraction around. Actually, see, I forgot my parentheses there. Flip the second fraction. So instead of 1/4, we now have 4/1, and then change. We're going to change that division to a multiplication. So 1/8 times 4/1. So this is going to be our new problem that we're working with. 1/8 times 4/1. We're going to multiply across the top. So 1 times 4, they rewrite it here, 1 times 4 equals 4. Multiply across the bottom. 8 times 1, they rewrite it here, is equal to 8. So then we have 4/8 as our final answer. But we do need to simplify this. When we simplify this, we get 1/2. 4 can go into 4 one time. 4 can go into 8 two times. So this is our final answer, 1/2. So let's do this one together. On your slides, I made it so that you can change these numbers when you click on them. I put an X there so that you can see them. But we have K, keep. Keep the first fraction the same. So we're going to keep the first fraction. So you have to rewrite the first fraction here. So we have 1/5 because we keep the first fraction the same. So 1/5, they should match. Flip, we need to flip the second fraction. So instead of 1/3, we need to change this to 3/1. This is our reciprocal. We need to make sure that the second one is flipped. Change. We need to change the division to a multiplication. So you'll need to make sure you have a multiplication symbol in here. You will also need to make sure you change these again. This is just a little bit extra practice. So keep the first fraction. So the first fraction is 1/5. Flip your second fraction. So instead of 1/3, we now have 3/1. And then change that multiplication. Now you should be good to actually do the problem out. So I'm going to tell you one more time to make sure you rewrite this. So keep the first fraction the same. So keep that 1/5 as a 1/5. Flip your second fraction. So instead of 1/3, you need 3/1. Change your multiplication sign, or change your division sign to a multiplication sign. So now this is ready to go. For because that KFC is just so tasty, we have to multiply across the top. So 1 times 3 is 3. Multiply across the bottom. So 5 times 1 is 5. And then simplify if needed. So our final answer is 3/5. I actually can't simplify this at all, so I am just going to leave it as it is, 3/5. So on your own, I'm going to have you do the next few. So I give you another one that kind of outlines what you need to do there. And then, actually I gave you 2 more that outline what you need to do there. And then try the next few on your own. You might need a piece of paper, but just remember, KFC MMS. I even write it over here. So you have 6 problems. Truthfully, if it does need to be simplified or some other thing going on, I give you an extra box so that you can see. So like this one, for instance, this one's going to need to be simplified. And this one tells me it's going to be a whole number here and a fraction here. But if you have any other questions, please let me know. I'm always here to help. And that's it for the math lesson today. So again, if you need any help, just let me know. But I will see you again later. Thanks, everybody.